Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Teacher Lawrence class. We are on English for everyone. So wherever you are in the world, if you would like to speak English and speak it a little better, you are on the right platform. Teacher Lawrence enjoys teaching English language. She enjoys writing. So welcome again for English. Welcome again, English for everyone. And as I said before, it doesn't matter where you are. Sorry about that. Let me welcome you again to English for everyone. And as I said, the English can be divided into 5 sections: grammar, spelling, vocabulary, reading comprehension, and creative writing. Today we are still on grammar. On a Wednesday we do creative writing starting with sentences, but today we are doing grammar and we are on verbs. Now remember verbs, we have 3 kinds of verbs. You have linking verbs, helping verbs, and action verbs. We are on action verbs. Last class we did verbs, but we did the present tense. We are going to revise. I'm going to be looking at past tense today, but we are going to be revising present tense. See how much you remember. And last week I said to you that present tense doesn't necessarily mean that the action is happening now, because I am speaking now, but I'm not speaking present tense. I'm speaking present continuous tense. So present tense is not when you're actually doing the activity or you're doing the action. When you're doing the action, we call it present continuous tense. So present tense are used for specific purposes. And we're going to look back at some of the purposes when we use present tense. We say if the habit is habitual, something that you do all the time. Brush your teeth every morning, wash your face, clean your room, visit grandma, something that you do habitually. We use the present tense. And we spoke about present tense. Present tense. You can have singular and plural. Singular and plural present tense. Singular and plural present tense. If you're talking about one person, Mary cooks the dinner. If it is one person, then the S should be on it. So when the verb is in the singular, we use the S. When it is Mary and Martha, we say they cook the dinner. Both of them cook the dinner. So when it is one person, the S is on it. When it is more than one, the verb has no S. However, in English language, there are many exceptions to the rules. Exception, I and you. Even when I'm using I brush my teeth, I do not add the S. You brush your teeth, I do not add the S. But normally, present tense, we carry the S if we're speaking about one person. No S if you're speaking about more than one person, one animal, one object. Present tense don't necessarily mean that the action is being done now. If the action is being done like how I'm speaking to you now, we don't call it present tense, we call it present continuous tense. But we use present tense for specific purposes. Habitual action, things that are habitual. Watch television every evening. Do your homework every evening. Things that are habitual. Doing them over time. We use the present tense. I walk to school every morning. John walks to school every morning. John and Mark walk to school every morning. So these are called present tense. They eat dinner at 7 p.m. She eats dinner at 7 p.m. So present tense are used with habitual actions. Another time when we use present tense, I did that last week, we use when we're talking about facts. When we're giving factual information, we use present tense. These are always true. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. The sun rises in the east. Plants need sunlight to grow. These are factual information. The sun rises. The planets revolve around the sun. These are factual information. So we relate them in the present tense. We relate them in the present tense. Another time when we use the present tense are for permanent situation. John lives in Jamaica. Mary and John live in Montego Bay. Remember the singular and the plural present tense. We also, so we use it for permanent situation. Where you live, where you work can be a permanent situation. My father works at the hospital. She teaches mathematics, permanent situation for a long time. All right, this is another one. Can add. These are statements that are widely accepted or naturally true, general truth. Birds fly. Birds, more than one, fly. So another little trick for you is that if you notice that the verb, the subject and the verb, both of them have one S, you know that's wrong. Birds if you see the subject and the verb, both of them carrying the S, you know that this one is wrong. Birds fly. So you don't have the subject and the verb with the two S, right? Normally. Fire burns. Ice melts. So these are factual too, and these are true. They are widely accepted. So we use, when we are making reference, we use present tense. Another time when we find we use present tense is like when we're giving instructions. Like you're baking cakes or so forth, you can put instructions, or you're giving directions. You can use, right? They can say then add the eggs, mix the flour and the sugar, pour the mixture, or anything with instruction, anything with direction, you can use the present tense. Another time, these are additional information to what I gave you the last time. You notice when commentaries are being made, like somebody talking about a football match, she runs, she grabs the baton, she grabs the button, she puts so and so. So whenever a commentary is being made, a commentator, sport commentator, or you're commenting on something, you use the past tense. You use the present tense. Bible information, if you're giving anything about from the Bible or from the Quran, these books that are factual, we use the present tense. So the present tense, we write, and if you are writing a persuasive essay or a persuasive paragraph persuading someone to do something, convincing them, you use the present tense too. So let's go it again. And you can practice. We use present tense for habits, things that are done regularly. We use present things for facts, things that are always true. We use present tense for permanent situations, where people live, where people work. General truth, we use present tense, things that naturally happen. We use present tense to show steps of how things follow certain steps to follow, if you are to follow certain steps. We use present tense when we are using descriptive, we are describing the actions that are happening currently, like a football match, a netball match, or some games. We also use present tense when we're writing persuasive pieces. All right. Now we're going to go on to past tense. So let me clean the board. Just a minute. All right. So we're going to clean this. And we are going to look at the past tense now. So we have finished revising present tense. We have finished revising present tense. So we can look at past tense now. Past tense. When we tell stories, whether it is a personal story or stories about other people, relating stories about other people, we use the past tense. Because most times these events are past and gone. So we use the past tense. They have already happened. So you're recalling, you're relating something that happened already. So we use what we call the past tense. Remember I told you about verb tense, that you have the present tense, the past tense, and the future to come. Present, happening habitually, and the other information I gave you. While the past tense, past already. So past tense help the reader to listen and to understand that the action took place before now. We use past tense when we're writing personal narrative, folk tales, historical accounts. Most of these things are written short stories. Most of these things are written in the past tense. The boy walked to the river and found a turtle. Now this action would have, or these two actions, walked, found a turtle, would have happened already. Now, there's a little trick to how past tense are formed. When you're going to be using the past tense, or when you're using the past tense, we add ed to some words, and some of them we say they are irregular. So the topic is how past tense verbs are formed. How past tense verbs are formed. We say those that add ed, we call them regular verbs. So we call them they are regular verb. So we say regular verbs, we add ed. Many verbs add ed. You said these are regular. For example, this is present tense. And this is past tense. Walk. So it means more than one person walk. Over here, walked. Past tense, more than one person walked. Jump. All right, jumped. Well, present tense happening. Walk, jump, jumped. Past tense, present tense, jump. I jump. Or I like to jump. But I jumped yesterday. Past tense. So present tense, past tense. Look, looked. Now, play, play. Present tense, past tense. Yesterday, last week, last month. Now there are some words that you add ed, but you have to sorry about that. All right, there are some words that you have to double the letter before you add ed. There are some words that you have to double the letter before you add the ed. Present tense, flog. Past tense, flogged. Let me think of some others. Flog, flogged. Can, canned. Short letter words. Beg, begged. These are short vowel words. Begged. So some of these words, before you add the ed, you have to double the last letter. Canned, flogged, begged, and other capped. Short letter words, short vowel words, cap, capped. These words, you had ed to them. So let's go it again. Irregular action verbs. They do not follow the pattern of adding ed. All right. And you can think of some irregular verbs. You can think of some irregular verbs. Irregular verbs. Present tense. Past tense. These do not add ed. 1, go. Go. I go to school every day. That's a present tense because it's a habitual action. I go to school every day. I go to church every Saturday. I go so and so. So it is in the present tense. But in the past tense we say we went. In the past tense we say we went. What is the past tense for see? What is the past tense for see? And that is saw. What about eat? I like to eat bun and cheese. Mary eats bun and cheese. Tom eats banana chips. Tom eats banana chips. So that is in the present, referring to the present. But, ate. I ate last night. And always use like time words. Last night, yesterday, some time ago. What about the word run? What's the past tense for the word run? Ran. What about the word take? What's the past tense? Took. So these are called irregular verbs. Irregular verbs. Now, another set of verbs, action verbs. These, they have the same past tense. They have the same past tense. Can you think of a word that it is the same, the present tense and the past tense are, both of them are the same. They do not change their spelling. Can you think of one? 1 minute up. All right. So there are some words, some action words or action verbs. The present tense and the past tense, they are the same. They do not change the spelling. They remain the same. 1, cut the bread. Today, you cut the bread. Yesterday, you will cut the bread in the future. Never change it. So, cut is one of them. Today, Mary cuts the bread. Tom and Harry cut the bread. Yesterday, they cut the bread, and they will cut the bread in the future, next week. So, cut always remain the same cut. It never add anything to the word cut for the past tense. Put is another one. Put the bag on the table now. Put the bag on the table last week. I will put the bag next week. I will put the bag tomorrow. I will put the bag later. Put is one of them that we do not change. Put. Another one is set. You will set the table set. Now, set it last week, set it next week, all of that. Hurt. I hurt my limb, I hurt my finger today. I hurt my finger last week. I hurt my finger yesterday. I hurt my finger so and so, and always hurt. It's always hurt. No, for the present tense, past tense, same thing. Hurt. Let is another one. Remain the same. The past tense and the present cost. It will cost you $10 today. It will cost you $20 tomorrow. It cost you $30 yesterday. Never change. These past tense, they never ever change. All right? Cost. Then you have burst. Same burst. Same burst. And then you have spread. S-P-R-E-A-D. S-P-R-E-A-D. So let's go it now. We are looking at past tense. Past tense, the action is done, gone. Past tense, they are used in narrative writing. And this narrative writing can be about personal narrative about yourself, writing a narrative about somebody else. It can be about historical information, something that you want, any kind of folk story, short story. And as I said, there's a difference between narrative writing and short stories. Narrative writing, you're just relating something that happened. You went to the shop, something happened and you want to relate it, that's a narrative. Something happened to your neighbor and you want to relate it, that's a narrative. Something happened to you, whether as an adult or a child and you want to relate it, it's a narrative. And you can even make up fictitious narrative. And these fictitious narrative, they have certain elements. We won't go into that tonight. Short stories are special kind of stories where you have goals, you have struggles, and short stories are like fairy tales. We'll go into that. Now, when you want to write all stories, whether it's folk tale, a Nancy story, Korean story, I would imagine they would have to relate them in the past because these things happen in the past. So we're saying that for how past tense are formed. Past tense are formed by adding ed to some words. Like wait, I wait now, but I waited yesterday. I arrived now, but I arrived yesterday. I look now, but I looked yesterday or last week. So we add ed to those words. There are some you add ed to them, but before you add the ed, you have to double the last letter. I pin something on you. I pin something on you now. I like to pin my hair. I like to pin up my hair. I like to pin my hair. But I pinned. So when I'm writing something, I pin, P-I-N, but if I'm going to write it in the past tense, it's P-I-N-N-E-D. So there are some that you add, they end with ed, but you have to double the last letter. Those are really regular verbs. Then you have some verbs that are irregular. They don't follow any set pattern, like run, ran, eat, ate, sleep, slept. All of those words, you have to change them. Go, went. Those are irregular, they don't follow any pattern. And the third set now, these are verbs that they remain the same in both present and past tense. So look out for these. Cut, same cut. Put, same put. Set, same set. Heard, let, burst, spread, spread. and challenge yourself, find some more, see if there are others. Now, so we say, if you are making up a sentence, the boy ran across the field. Ran across the field yesterday. The boy ran across the field, saw a bright kite flying in the sky. Now, most times when we're using past tense, we tend to use or we should use time. Last week, last night, yesterday, last month, last year. And so we actually write them in using transitional words like first, when you're relating a story. First, I went to the supermarket. Next, I picked up some snacks. Then, I put them in my bag. Later, I had them with my friends. So we want in relating narratives, we use transitional words that can make the connection or connections. Listen to a narrative because we're going to write something today. Yesterday, Maria visited her grandmother. She helped her bake bread and wash the dishes. Later, they sat on the veranda and talked about old times. Maria felt very happy when she returned home. Now, so these actions, we see them in the paragraph. Now, as I said, there are some action words, time words that we use, like yesterday, last night, last week, earlier, then, later, after that. So, excuse me. I'll call it back, I'm in class. Yeah. Sorry about that. All right. Now, today, we are going to write a few paragraphs together using the past tense. Now there's a simple way of writing paragraphs. And I'm encouraging you, if you are there on the platform, take out your pen, take out your pens or the paper, and we're going to write together. Take out your pens or your pencils, and we are going to write together. Now there's an easy way to write a paragraph in the past tense. A simple way to write simple ways to write.
No, you're live.
No, that's not.
You're live, no.
No, I'm turning it. that as some technical challenge. All right. So we are saying that we are writing a paragraph, but we are using the previous sentence to write the paragraph. We are using the previous sentence to write the paragraph. So something in that previous sentence, we're going to connect to the next sentence. For example, I'm telling you about simple ways to write narrative paragraphs. Look at the previous sentence. This is one technique. Tom went to the park. So I pick out something from that first sentence. Tom went to the park. At the park, he saw a small dog running across the grass. So I pick out at the park. Then the next sentence, the dog ran towards him and barked happily. Tom took out his ball and began to play with the dog. Tom and the dog had fun. So you're building your paragraph, past tense narrative paragraph, using the previous sentence. That is one technique. All right, don't worry yourself. I will continue to do another one. I'll continue to do another one. For example, listen to this. Sarah walked into the whole house. I want to connect now. What word could I take out the first sentence? Sarah walked into the old house. I could take out house. Inside the house, she heard a strange noise. What could I take out of that sentence? Noise. The noise came from the hallway, or the noise came from across from the neighbor's yard. You could say next, slowly Sarah walked down the hallway to investigate. So each sentence continues something from the previous sentence. Each sentence continues something from the previous sentence, and it don't have to be fixed. But you know you're going to use the nouns. Of course, you know you're going to be using the noun. So it don't have to be fixed. But you're going to take something from the previous sentence so you can build on it and you can make your connection. Take something from the previous sentence. Let's try another one. Each sentence continues something from the previous one. So let's try this again. All right. David kicked the ball across the field during recess. David kicked the ball across the field during recess. What could I take? What word or phrase could I take from this sentence to make the next one? All right. We could say something probably about the ball. The ball. Okay. Let's go with this one. Lena sat in her room doing her homework. Think of another action verb that can go with this one now. Lena or Marvin flying his kite in the yard. Another action, Suzette sewing her. You're going to make sure in this paragraph, each sentence will have an action verb in the past tense. So make sure that each sentence has an action verb in the past tense. All right? So you're continuing the action. Lena sat quietly in her room doing her homework. Next action verb. What could I say there after that? What could I say after that? Build on that one. While she worked, she heard noise outside, or she heard strange noise, or she heard barking. Strange noise outside. Build on that one now. What more could you put on that? Add another sentence to it. What happened? When you hear noise, what you do? You go and you look. You peek through the door. What else would you do? She ran, or she ran to the window, or she could tiptoe. She tiptoed to the window and she tiptoed to the window. Let us make it a little bit more interesting. She tiptoed to the window and carefully or gently, whatever, pull the curtain and peeked, past tense, outside. What else could you add to that, past tense? What else could you add to that? Peek outside. What else could you add to let me see if I have anything here. Peek outside. Could you say she saw anything? Think of something. Lena sat quiet in her room doing her homework. While she worked, she heard strange noise. She heard strange noise outside. She tiptoed to the window. She tiptoed to the window, carefully pulled the curtain and peeked outside. She saw, or you could say she saw, or you could say her eyes popped open. Let us put in a little more. Put a little more to it. Her eyes popped when she saw what? When she saw what? A man leading her grandfather cow out of the barn. What? What she saw? She saw a strange man. What was the strange sound? Lena sat quiet in her room doing her homework. While she worked, she heard a strange noise outside. She tiptoed to the window. Carefully, she pulled the curtain. She pulled the curtain, or more than one, all right? We can put to the S. We don't have to get it right all at once because remember, we can always edit. And peeked outside. Her eyes popped open when she saw what? She saw a man, or she saw a figure. Let's say she saw a figure. Saw a figure leading her grandfather's only cow, only bull cow, only bull, I don't know if it's necessary to put bull cow out of the barn. Alright? And the rest is for our imagination. Now writing. So while you're writing, you are thinking, you're imagining, you are thinking of action. What happened next? So you don't use the linking verbs, so many of them, and the helping verb. You're going to be using the action verbs. So let's read that. So each sentence, you're continuing action. Lena sat quietly in her room doing homework. While she worked, she heard strange noise outside. Another action. She tiptoed to the window, carefully pulled the curtains, and peeked outside. Her eyes popped open when she saw a figure, right, or a shadow, could probably a shadow or a figure, leading her grandfather's only bull cow, or bull, just leave it at bull, out of the barn. And the rest is for the imagination. So, two techniques we look at in writing action paragraphs. We looked at the one that you use the previous lesson, the previous sentence to write the next one. So you take out something out of the previous lesson. And then you continue the next one. And you take out another. So always connect the next sentence to the sentence before. Always connect the sentence to this sentence to the next one. So if I went to the shop, bought some bread and butter. I went to the shop, I bought bread and butter for my supper. When I reach home with the bread and butter, so you take something out here. I made sure I toasted it or something, you do something to it. And then afterward, you take another part. I bought a new car. Took home my car, drove home my car, what you do with it. So each of the sentence is built on from the previous one. So that is one technique to write simple sentences, simple paragraph. The other technique is to use action verb in every sentence. Now there's another one we will do the next time, and this one is called the cause and effect. So your homework is to make sure you understand how to use past tense. Know the different types of past tense, how past tense are formed, Some are formed by adding ed. Some are formed by doubling the last letter before you add the ed. And there's another set that I'm going to tell you about when they end with y. I'm going to tell you about that one the next time. And we say past tense. You can use the past tense to write simple paragraphs. These paragraphs, one type of paragraph that you can use to write one way you can write simple paragraph is by using the previous sentence to build the next one. That is one technique. The second technique is that for every sentence you write, there must be an action word. And then you can start adding your little adjectives and your adjective, your strong verbs, and your little intrigues that lend itself to imagination. All right, so let's quickly go through the lesson again. We are on grammar. We say grammar consists of the 8th part of speech. It also consists of the definite and indefinite articles, and that is the. And that the is a definite article. Indefinite has to do with a and an. Grammar also consists of punctuation marks, the end ones and the inside one. And grammar consists of capitalizations. We are on grammar this evening. We have looked at nouns already, the different types of nouns, and so we are looking at verbs. We have looked at verbs. We have looked at the different types of verbs. Linking verbs, helping verbs, and action verbs. And we look at how they are used. We are now on action verbs. Action verbs, we say action verbs can be in the present tense, the past tense, and the future tense. We looked at how action verbs are formed in the past tense. They are formed by adding ed. Some you have to double the last letter, then you add the ed. Then some, they are irregular, like go and went, come and came. Eat and ate, they are irregular. We also say that there are some action verbs that are in the past tense. They are in the present tense and the past tense, they are the same. Like cut and cut, put and put, set and set, let and let. We moved on from that and we say we can write simple narrative paragraphs in the past tense using simple techniques like looking at the first sentence, the previous sentence, and use that sentence, the previous sentence, to build the next sentence. And you can do that for your paragraph, simple paragraphs. We also say another way you can improve your paragraph using the past tense is by making sure that every sentence has an action verb. Next week now we are going to go on to looking at when the word, if it's a verb and it's end with a y, then we're going to change it to the y to I, then you add ed. We're going to wrap up on that. Then we're also going to look at another way, not another, but some other ways, a few other ways that we can write simple narrative paragraphs. I hope you are learning. I hope you are practicing. I hope you are writing. Remember to subscribe to the channel, Teacher Lawrence channel, and remember to get your copy on Amazon, the Write Workbook. The Write Workbook, Building Creativity and Imagination. we are learning. Writing is about ideas. Writing is about imagination. One of the greatest gifts that any human being can possess is the gift of imagination. And we are going to a world of imagination with your writing. You're going to see how much you would have improved. You're going to be able to write not just paragraphs, but you're going to be writing different types of paragraphs, and you're going to be writing narratives using different types of narrative techniques, flashback, foreshadow, all of these, we're going to be using them. So remember to subscribe. Remember to tell your friends about this platform. Remember to buy your book. Thank you for being a part of this platform, and I see you again on Wednesday when we're going to be doing some more work on our sentence, writing better sentences. Thank you.